Hello and welcome to another episode of the Ryan Elly Show.
Hi.
Today we're going to talk about a couple of things really. We're going to talk a lot about sort of training related goals and trying to set more performance related ones. And we'll get onto a little bit why further on into the episode. But I think right now, the kids have just been mental. It's the last day of school term and we feel like life has just been even more mental than normal, haven't we?
Yeah, but it's also like when you get to, and I'm sure many parents relate to it as well, when you're getting closer to the end of term, kids just like turn into like monsters, even more so.
Oh yeah, we got told we were hated the other day, didn't we? I think it's like they get tired, and one thing that I know from my side of it is the unease of like the lack of routine, because I do think that that's something that in my head now I've got in the back of my mind is like, oh shit, it's going to be a bit more of a challenge, because the way that we structure our days is we juggle it, don't we? We have one day where one of us is on work mode, the other one's on mum or dad mode. That's going to be very much changed. Because on the mum or dad day modes, when they're in school, we've got time. So
yeah, I think what we'll probably have to do is we're quite good. And what we kind of do is we don't mind getting up early. So we talk about like, can you set your alarm a little bit earlier? So we do tend to... It's just it's going to be. We have to take sacrifice.
And then we'll do a little bit later when they're in bed. And it's something that I would say if you're watching this now and you've got this, kids off school, it's going to be a bit more of a balance juggling it. Map it out a little bit. And yes, at times it can feel a bit frustrating or tiring, but making that decision means you can be a lot more present. I think I still need to work on that, I'll admit. But I think you can be more present during the time with them whilst they're off. So...
And like we always talk about like movement doesn't have to be like the traditional sense of where you think of doing a workout, etc., especially like with the kids are off school and then we've got that pressure. It's finding movement involving the kids or family, involving what you can do. So for us, we know there's a park nearby. Let's walk to the park. The park's gated now, so the kids can be enclosed, and there's a nice little track where you can just walk around the park, and it's
670 steps.
Well, there we go. So don't be kind of stressing yourself and focusing on things that you can't do if you're in the same predicament as us. It's about focusing on, okay, what I can do this.
Yes, and obviously even by focusing on what you can do, and we've talked about this before, is when you do focus on what you can do, you'll feel much more positive about the situation. If it's all you're doing is focusing on this stuff you can't get done, it's only going to frustrate you and leave you feeling like you failed, when actually you're missing out on all these other little bits that you possibly can do. And it's like, actually, if you are fortunate enough to be able to have a bit more time with your kids, that's something that we're never going to get back. And I remember reading something, it's like you only have them as a kid for like 10 to 12 years, and then all of a sudden they grow up, and it's like we do need to try and make the most of it. I'm slightly reminding myself of that at the time.
I'm a big advocate of just focusing on something that's going to help you feel really good. And so when you're focusing on things that you can do, that's going to give you like the accomplishment feeling. That's going to give you like a positive feeling. Whereas if you're continually focused on things that you haven't done or should be doing, you're not going to win in that sense. And I think you end up losing motivation, you fall off the wagon. And it's just like, for me, I'm all about promoting, do you know what, actually, this is what I can do. I'm being realistic, but it doesn't mean it's not going to work for me.
Yes, so what we're really reminding you of this at the same time is over the next few weeks, we are going to be really working hard to try and make sure that we can consistently keep posting these
you might see us in
podcasts.
5 weeks' time, literally, like, we're in survival mode of, like, getting through the summer holidays with the kids, because our 10-year-old is going on, like, 16. She's at the point where, can you close my door now? Because she's in her bedroom, music blaring.
Yeah, so another thing, update. We have a triathlete in the room. Woo!
Although, there's a part of me that's like, am I a triathlete?
So if you've watched our previous podcast, you will know Ellie has been training extremely hard for the last year, but specifically I'd say the last 5 months to get ready to do the Jersey Triathlon. Mm-hmm. Do you want to tell them if you haven't seen already?
Weather was not on my side.
No, it wasn't. But she finished it and came third female, like in her first one, which absolutely insane. I think when you see how many people are there, a lot of experience, and you smashed it.
I was kind of like saying to the people who aren't very close to me that it's just about, I just want to do it. I chose to do the standard distance, which is like the Olympic distance. And I was like, yeah, I'm just like going to have fun and do it. Sneakily behind the scenes, I said to Ryan, I want to get top 10 in the female category.
Can we ask that? Did you look at times that other people were doing? Were you checking those? So Ellie is secretly competitive.
Don't judge me.
And it's sort of, this will link to the main topic of today as well. But having an element of like competition can be healthy as long as it's done the right way. And I think with you, it was something that motivated you rather than demotivated.
Yeah, definitely. So I did, secret between us here, I did look at last year's times of other competitors and kind of got a gauge of, okay, well, where am I at? Where's my strengths? Where are my weaknesses? And kind of like had an idea of what sort of times I wanted to be doing. And I knew that I had time on me to kind of be working. And the thing is with me is like, I kind of like to have a structured training plan. I want to be able to know like my distances, my times, hence why I upgraded on my watch. See, it was useful. Just like I like data. I've always liked data. And so it kind of helped me and it just gave me an idea. But I honestly was not expecting top 3. And like that is something like I'm still like in shock about.
Yeah, I think even when we, like the way that the event ran, there was like hundreds of people doing the event all on different what would you call it? Different races, would you?
Yeah, there was different like distances.
So you had no idea at the finish line really, unless you were stood there looking at the numbers because they had different colours and stuff like that. You wouldn't really be that clear on where anybody came. But we knew Ellie was a strong swimmer, so she came out definitely in the top 2 or 3 female swimmers for sure. No, did you? Were you first female swimmer? There you go then. First female swimmer, get there now. Woo! She's not letting me take that.
No, that swim was like awful.
Horrible, yeah.
It was dog eat dog.
And do you know what made the worst bit for me? Yeah, if you've never seen the way Jersey one's set, you standing on the top.
Can we add a clip?
And
maybe?
you can look down. Yeah, we'll see if we can get a clip. And they got everyone in the water, and honestly, I felt sick with nausea because oh my word, we left Neve May at home.
Say that.
Why? Just popped into my head.
I don't know if we can.
It was carnage. Yeah, we.
There was a lot of stress going on.
There was a lot of stress going on.
I didn't know if I was going to be...
Miscommunication, and it meant that the children had been left in bed at home. They were fine.
They missed the start.
And Ellie's parents went and got them, missed the start. So that threw me. What was I talking about?
The start of the race.
Oh, so yeah, and it felt like they got them all in the water.
No, it was. It didn't
15 minutes before it started. And I was stood there like, oh my God, I feel sick because the waves are going like this. And I'm looking at it thinking, yeah, I can see why they've cut the swim short. And some of them were going out and doing lengths. I was like, they need to save their energy, but I couldn't tell who was who at the start.
And like everything like goes, like everything, like not everything that you've learned, but you know, like the factors with like the swimming boys are, you know that it's just going to be a mental start where like you're all going to be grouped together. And one of the tips that I got from my swimming like coaches, and that was just go for it in the first 200 meters, just sprint and kind of just hold on. So that was like my game plan. I'm just going to sprint, but Ryan as a spectator was watching. I kind of was a bit too close to the boys, which meant that I was really stuck in a group, which meant I was having to do a couple of strokes of breaststroke, which when the waves are coming at you, breaststroke's not the most ideal stroke.
Swimming over people
kind
as well.
Of stop, yeah, and guilty, you do kind of swim over. Everyone was fine. But, and like, the thing is, and like, because of how well I played, which was never what we expected, and I have to like say that, like, we never expected that. Like, so prior to the competition, like, and this is like where it is kind of my downfall as well, is I don't give myself credit enough in terms of, you know, the commitment and dedication that I did put into my training to a point where I was kind of performing well. So I always talked myself down was when I was talking to other people about this triathlon goal, and they said like, oh, you know, like, how are you doing and stuff? And I was like, I've never done it before. I'm a beginner. The bike, I'm really like nervous about. I'm really bad. So then when I placed top 3, everyone's like, oh, you were chatting SHIT. And I was like, no, I was actually being genuine, but I just kind of...
I think it was every time as well. Like, the funny thing is with the bike, like, we got the bike and the bike did well, but it was a budget bike. And whenever we took it to get looked at and stuff like that, and they were like, oh, what, you just doing the what's the short one? The shorter
The
one.
super sprint.
I'm doing the implement. Oh. And, you know, it would just
Pray
be
this
that.
bike gets you round.
And I felt like saying to these people, you're not helping her.
I made a mistake by doing it, but the bike definitely, I mean, I improved my bike speed compared to what my training sessions were, but it was definitely, you can see in my splits, it was my weaker area. Like I was getting overtaken quite a lot. And then with the run, I don't know if anyone who's listened before has ever done like bike into a run, but your legs are literally like jelly, like they don't belong to you anymore. And I remember looking at Ryan being like, I can't do this. And he was just like, take a chew, like just calm down in your transitions, because that's where like you feel flustered and you start to forget everything. And I just remember getting off the bike and thinking, I've got another like 45 minutes to get through. I'm literally depleted. I had a quick sip of water and just thought, here we go. And literally my legs just went. I don't think they belong to me, and kind of...
I think Ellie's been a bit modest there as well, because Ellie did look very strong on the run. I would say you were strong on the run and you were doing well. But I think it now sort of ties into the performance related. I think you have, like, this week you've probably had a bit, would you call it an epiphany? Is that what you call it? Like a change in your thoughts, or...
Yeah, because like we've talked before in the podcast about my sort of like history in terms of like my body image history and how I perceive myself. And I've like grown up from like my late teens, early 20s, kind of literally been chasing a weight loss goal. That's always been something that I've done, is chase weight loss. And it was more relatable to like last year. I felt as if I was really like, I had surgery at the beginning of the year. So naturally body, like, you know, it's gone through a lot of stress. It holds onto water. You probably not been as active, blah, 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 blah. So I wasn't looking like my best as I had looked. And it really kind of impacted me negatively. And sometimes I feel a bit embarrassed. And that's why I've not openly talked about it, because of my coaching principles. I wasn't like really believing it in myself. And I really was quite harsh on myself last year, because I just wasn't feeling very confident. And so I was chasing, like, I needed to lose weight, but I was doing it in a form of like not nourishing myself. You know, I was skipping meals. I was going into my training sessions because I needed to lose weight. So then it was going into this year where I had this performance related goal that the focus on was, I have to nourish myself. I have to give myself rest. I need the movement, but I need the movement because I want to continue to be performing better. And the body kind of goal, which wasn't a focus, it kind of became as a byproduct of me working towards a performance-related goal where I was giving my body its best chance.
Yeah, and I think it's something that, like, from me as an observer, triathlon husband, carer,
never going to forget this.
Everything. I've seen it hugely, because it was very much like actually creating structure. You know, we talk to clients about like trying to create structure and routine with their food and stuff like that. But then when you start to do it around performance as well, it's so much better, because you're thinking more about nourishment. You know, if you're somebody who is embarking on a journey and you want to lose weight, you can still want to lose weight, and that's what Ellie's saying, it becomes a byproduct. But when you look at your nutritional journey of a way of, I want to perform better, I want to feel better, your whole focus shifts. It's no longer about calories. It wasn't, was it? It was more about, actually, am I getting the right...
Yeah,
protein, am I getting colouring? You know, they were the things that Ellie would be talking to me.
Have I eaten enough actually to be able to run my fastest splits, or to run the distance, or to, you know, swimming really well? And I think the one thing that I've noticed the last year was I wasn't stepping on the scales, like, compared to what I was doing. And if you think about it, and relatable, how many times if you're focused on a weight loss goal and you feel like as if you're doing everything that you should be doing, but then you step on the scale and then the scale's not moved to how you want it to move, it can really kind of like affect mood. But then a lot of people may give up. And so to me, I was like, the scale weight wasn't something I was focusing on. So it wasn't important to me, because actually, you know, if I've had a really hard training session, because I was still doing weights, still getting DOMs, I was inflamed, maybe like if I had been working really hard, the logic is that the scale weight isn't going to move, because that's my body, it needs to have its recovery and it needs its rest. And so it didn't impact me motivationally, because the goal for me was a performance goal that was, you know, in a few months' time, etc. So massive.
And I think we could possibly get your photos on this as well to show, like, because when you said it's a kilo, you're a kilo more.
Oh.
Now, was it you said?
Oh, that was like month ago.
Yeah, but it just shows how but you can see how your shape is still definitely you can see you look leaner now, and that's
Yeah, but if you compare me to last year, I'm 3 kilos down.
there you go.
So, but my focus last year was weight, but I just wasn't getting there because I was just attacking it completely wrong. And whereas the focus hasn't been weight, and my body's I'm in awe of my body because of how well it performed. And that's what helped me to kind of keep showing up each day, because I was loving the process. It wasn't a form of punishment.
And that's something now where we can sort of tie into the viewers or listeners, isn't it? About, it doesn't have to be setting yourself a goal of a triathlon or something quite as great as that, but it sort of draws back to our whole free track, assess and adapt, but tracking different variables. It could be just trying to be a little bit stronger in the gym, it could be as simple as that, or it could be a little bit more extreme, like running, doing a trap.
I think a good question as a starting place to ask yourself is, everything that you're doing day in, day out, is it out of form of punishment, or is it out of form of, nourishment, self-love, because you want to be stronger, you want to be fitter, you want to be healthier, you want to live longer? Does it make you happier? When you're starving yourself and putting yourself on really low calories and really trying to burn the candle at both ends, exercising excessively, to me, that's not out of self-love. It's a form of negatively, a relationship on yourself, and it's not going to give you what you want.
And it always just creates...
It's going to continue,
We become content. I think it's drawing it back to a lot of the time when someone has weight loss, and we hate always talking about, but weight or body image related goals, it's delved that deeper into the why. A lot of the time it's to do with actually feeling better or doing something physically better, which often could be performance related. So I would say maybe if you can do an activity, get it all mapped out. What does being fit or happier or healthier look like to you? How would you embody that? The shape, the weight will all look after itself with time.
Yeah, and it's also thinking about if you have children is asking yourself, would you be happy if they were doing everything that you're doing right now as well? And I know that when I was kind of chasing the weight loss and I was, being harsh on myself, this is more so when I was in my 20s as well, I wouldn't want that for me and Neve. I'd be gutted, if they felt that way. I would love it if they kind of feel the way that how I'm feeling now, because I think it's something to be so proud of. I feel proud of myself, and I feel we all deserve and are worthy to feel proud of ourselves.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that when you do that, it then starts to feed off, because I have to say, even since Ellie's started doing that, I've definitely found now that I'm able to train again, it's up my motivation, my inspiration. Ellie even got me out on the bike the other day, and I think now I'm my ADHD's kicking in, and I'm
you don't want to know what he's
saying. I want to do an Ironman. I just need to learn to swim. That's the sort of thing that goes through, but it's not rational, but it just goes through my head. So
it's not rational now.
Well, maybe it is.
He's downloaded a plan.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Have we ever told the story of you when you learned to swim?
I don't know.
Ryan learned to swim last year. Had a proper coach.
I'm going to go bright red now.
And then took out a swim membership, and it was buzzing because I couldn't teach Ryan to swim. You had to get a coach and stuff.
I was able to swim though, just to be clear. I just couldn't
swim. Just continue. Yeah. The question is whether it'll be savable in the sea. But so Ryan would go swimming in a local pool. He bought himself a dry robe. Still got that dry robe. Want to burn it.
Put my Crocs on every time.
So literally, he had a couple of sessions. And then comes in, he's got a new goal. And I'm okay. He's I'm going to swim to France. I'm can we just start off with a realistic goal? And then he stopped swimming.
Yeah, I did it for a couple of months. And I did get up to I got up to nearly 800 meters. And I even seen some of the lads in the pool and stuff like that. And they were all giving me tips and chatting away. And then, it just... I think it wasn't fitting because it wasn't as flexible times-wise. I'm full of excuses, really.
That's why goals need to be realistic as a first step. But it's always good to have, a really, far-fetched goal. But it's kind of starting on little steps to kind of get you there.
I can't do it.
I didn't say that, no, because I know what he's like. But, yeah, so you never know. Me and Ryan might be kind of training towards... something. Yeah. And that's the thing as well with performance-related goals. Sorry, just to continue. I will finish. Is... there's no end like date or stuff like that. Like, for me, yeah, it was a triathlon. I love the process. I think I've talked about that many times. So it's kind of like, I'm going to continue my training. I want to get fit. I want to get fitter. I want to get my running faster. So, and that's why it's buzzing, because like often when people have like a weight loss goal, it's like, hit the weight, what do we do now? Or like go on holiday, and it kind of gets undone. Whereas with performance and training, you can measure it, and you can then be like, right, okay, well, let's make it more progressive.
Yeah, and there's different ways to progress it. It's looking at other things. For Ellie, it could be getting the times quicker. For Ellie, it could be looking at distances. And that's where, if you're watching this and you're like, do you know what, I'd always thought about the weight, but maybe, I should set it. It could be as like, the couch to 5K. I've done stuff before, sort of giving it a hard time, but actually if that's a goal for you to be able to run 5K, we would definitely suggest doing it with strength-based training. But if you've been watching our stuff for a while, you'll know we talk about that. But that's a fantastic goal, like the accomplishment. If you're not able to run for a minute now, and in 12 weeks you can run 5K, that's fucking something to be proud of.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Is there anything else that we needed to add today? I think the big thing for me, the big take home from this would be to try and remind yourselves of what feeling fitter, feeling stronger, healthier looks like to you, and then try to set performance related goals. And we say performance, I think a lot of the time when they think performance, they think it's just about in the gym, but it doesn't have to be competition. It could just be as simple as like how you're feeling on a daily basis, but set goals relevant to that. And then, like Ellie said, you're probably not going to need the scales ever again in your life, because you'll be feeling better.
And I think as well, like when you're setting goals, is having an understanding of like your actions to those goals. So, whatever your goal might be, but then it's, okay, well, how am I going to get to that goal? Right, okay, well, nutrition, nourishing your body, getting some colours in your meals, making sure that you're eating enough to be able to perform well, but also so it's a foods that are going to help lift your moods, and generally just your body's going to feel really good, like digestion, etc. Getting some movement in, because we all know that movement's good for us physically and mentally. Hydration, sleep, having an understanding of all your actions that you're doing day in, day out, because that's going to be a big part to you reaching that goal in the best way possible, the most enjoyable way possible, and
I don't think we can top that. I could sense, I don't know if you can sense Ellie's passion when you start talking like that. The levels go up. I like it.
Because I've just felt like I wish I could bottle up like what I've learned this year and just give it to everyone, and because it's changed my life. I feel as if like 38 years old, like I keep getting told.
How old?
38, how close I am to 40, and I'm like, hell, like that's just a number. Like I'm gonna prove, like like we can do what we want. Our body's like magnificent. Like 7 months ago I had sepsis, I was in hospital, I wrote myself off, like to be able to where I am now, and like thinking like, I've got people like telling me I need to like be properly competing triathlons. We'll see with that. But like to feel as if like maybe I found something that I have a buzz for, that the community's amazing. It's brought out the best in me as a person. I think it's helped me with my coaching, and hopefully my family still love me. But yeah. But anyhow.
Yeah, even the girls brought the medal into school.
Oh, they did, show and
very
tell.
proud.
Eve May's got a racing bike.
Yeah, right. On that note, we're going to finish it up there. As always, if you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Otherwise, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and any comments down below, we will reply to them all. Thanks very much. Till next time. Cheesy wave.